What is going on, guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. It's going to be a long-form discussion on some open world PvP and some just general things we want to talk about. We are a new company, so we are rolling now as heroic thugs, and we kind of want to do a little discussion, a Q&A on with our open world PvPers, and kind of discuss the ins and outs of what we think should be adjusted. And hope you guys enjoy. I'll put a lot of timestamps for you because this was a long one, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you hate it, let me know. So let's talk about rotating PvP hotspot first. All right, so what would be your ideal rotating PvP hotspot situation?
My thing would be, for instance, let's just pick an island like the Rabbit Island and Restless Shores, correct?
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times the size, but something like that to where it's out of the vicinity of a lot of stuff. It's in areas and territories that are not being used a whole lot. And there's only one can spot or pop up per territory, or no, the whole map. So let's just say that you want to go and do PvP in open world, but you don't want to cap forts because it's starting to get a little too redundant. Especially when people are camping the fort and they've got more than you, and you want to go in, but you know that it just seems to be like there needs to be more even fights.
Yeah, and it's like you're also, you might not care about pushing influence either. Like, if you don't care about pushing influence, why would you go there?
Exactly, and capping a fort takes 15 minutes regardless of how many people are standing there. So it just seems like it's a little bit of a waste of time, to be able to get PvP XP, and that's literally the only way besides killing people. But if you can give more of an incentive, and I think this whole PvP island, we're calling it like a capturing point or whatever, to where it's timed. Only one can spawn on the map, and you have, once somebody gets in it, then it starts the timer. So like, let's just say that we have a raid of 20 people. Yellow's got a raid of 10, and whatever. Once we get into that fort, or not fort, but the island, it puts up a barrier after about 30 seconds that nobody else can get in. Who's in is in, right? And if you die, you just respawn either away from it completely at a shrine or right outside the invisible wall, if you will. Okay. And the only way for you to get anything out of it is if you do fight your opposite faction. So you can't go and abuse it and just claim whatever you want, and it's locked, and all you have is just purples or greens in there, and they're collecting whatever they want. It's just specifically for open world. You have to kill to be able to get whatever it is that what I think would be something that's a very good number of gold, or something that's highly leveled PvP XP. Something that that you're gonna get at least 2 checkpoints for.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And it's all about kills. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's the last faction standing, pretty much. So it could come down to, if there's 3 factions in there, it comes down to, red or yellow, green, and purple. And then whoever's last standing gets it for their whole faction. You know what I'm saying?
So if the only thing I think would be an issue with that is if you have a zone like that, it's like a situation where you have, let's say you have one of each left. Does the circle get smaller, like a Fortnite type thing, where it closes in on them? Because people are never going to be forced to fight each other. They might just hold out and wait for the timer to run out. If they hold out and wait for the timer to run out, and there's one of each, what happens then?
Or you're talking basically if there's one healer left and one other person that can't, or 2 healers that can't kill each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I see an issue with that. My thing was like, if you had I would just take the OPR map size, and that's what you would use out in the open world. You move that around, it spawns every half hour, like we were talking time-wise. It despawns after a half hour. While you're in it, you're gaining PvP XP. I think you should be gaining PvP XP while flagged, even if you're not fighting somebody. I still think you should be getting PvP XP, because if you're not gaining any PvP XP, let's say you go in and you get smashed and you kill nobody, you get nothing out of it. It's like you're decentivizing people from going into it. I think if you just go into it, you just start accumulating PvP XP and salt as you're in there as time goes by, and obviously kills would obviously be a bonus.
But what if they made it to where if you didn't kill before the timer ran out, if nobody, like, let's just say it ends up being like 2 purples, 2 greens, right? And they're still fighting, and it's 2 healers and 2 bruisers, and they just keep getting healed. When that timer runs out, if no one wins and it's a draw, nobody gets anything.
Oof, that's rough.
It is rough, but it incentivizes people to go in there strong.
That's true, yeah, because if you're going in there like a 20v10, obviously you're going to hope with that. You would assume that 20 would beat the 10.
Exactly, yeah. I think that if it's a big enough map that there's going to be, yeah, there could be people that just hide out and stuff, but you can eliminate that by, I don't know, maybe it does close. Maybe it is like a, like the 3v3s where the ring is coming in,
I mean, they already have that mechanic built into the game, so they can obviously do it.
True. Yeah, exactly. And maybe this is a completely separate thing. It's not I mean, obviously it can't be. I'm just trying to, like, 20v20, 2 raids, right? That's open. I mean, that's OPR.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is a completely separate thing where it is a raid, but you can only have like 10v10.
I would actually love it if something like this were to pop up, where even if you had multiple groups of purple, they could also fight each other. Like, you go in with whatever group you go in with. Like, if you go in with, like, I'm thinking like outside the box.
Oh, I got it.
If it's not just factions, if it's like,
dude, I got it. You have to have 10, no less, no more. For you to be able to enter, you have to have the right amount of numbers. Does that make sense? To where greens have to have 10. Everybody's got to have 10 players. You can't just go in there with 5 and 10 other players. It has to be an even number.
I do like that idea. And I mean, I assume if you're doing something like that, it would be like an auto grouping. Once you get into it, you're just instantly procced into a group with these guys, into a raid group.
Maybe it's even a little bit more technical. Maybe you have to have at least 1 healer. You can only have 1 healer per group, right? 1 healer per 5-man. So 2 healers a total. Yeah, it's actually matchmaking perfectly.
I like the idea.
Just like in a dungeon, you have to have a healer. You can go in without one, but they need something that is matchmaking.
I gotcha. I was thinking more of like a free, not like a free for all, but go into this PvP zone. You could be a solo versus a 10-man group, and then while you're in there, the resources are times 300, like I was saying before, as an incentive for other people besides PvPers to go in there and actually do stuff. But I mean, it's not necessarily required.
If you're, that's the thing. It's like what we talked about before. I don't want to be forced to have to do PvE.
True. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
stuff.
It's almost a bad thing.
And you know what I mean? Like, if you're dedicated to PvP, then there needs to be content for just PvP and vice versa.
Agreed.
Because I don't want to have to buy a battle pass and be stuck with PvE crap when I'm spending $20 for it.
Yeah.
I don't play PvE anymore. It's boring for me. It got repetitive, and so that's my thing. But as far as like, the thing is with this whole thing, what we're talking about is having to make sense out of it, because you don't want, a 5 stack to just be all healers, and all they have to do is ride it out.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that would not be the way to.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying is like a healer. It would be hard for someone to kill a bruiser, and a bruiser has a shot at killing a healer. But if they're a good healer, and you have multiple healers, they're just gonna be healing each other. So that's why I bring up the whole matchmaking thing, to where you have to have 1 healer, you have to have 2 DPS or 3 DPS and a bruiser. You know what I'm saying? You have to make it work so where nobody can ever say, "Hey, we lost because you had too many healers or all range." You know what I'm saying?
Would you then make it like since you're going to do like a queue system, would you then make it like when you see this thing pop up on the map, you run up to it and then you queue at said location, and then it puts you into a role selection screen, and that's where you select your role, kind of like that?
Yes, and then once you select it, you cannot unselect it.
Okay,
Like, you
beautiful.
cannot change your gear.
Gotcha. I was about to say that it has to be a gear lock then. Okay. I mean,
It
I
has to be a
I
gear
like that
lock.
idea a lot personally. I mean, because we have, I mean, on Valhalla, obviously, we have more than enough people that do open world PvP where this 100% could work.
Yeah, you just have to make sure the incentive of winning is better
Yeah.
than what it is they have now, which is just PvP XP, which is great. You want that, but you don't want fort capping and killing open world and hoping that you see something in open world. We want to bring other people into open world that don't normally do it because the incentive is there.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think the incentive would have to be a box like OPR, and then PvP XP install would have to be the minimum.
Yeah, but you got to work for it. You
Oh,
can't just go
100%.
into this island and think that you're just going to wait it out. It's all about kills. Maybe it's a certain amount of kills. Maybe you got to wipe them all. So healers can't just go in there and pocket themselves or heal each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have to kill in order to be able to get the reward.
I wonder if you could make it like a one life thing where if you go and you die, you just get ported out, and then that's it. And your team lost that man. You're down one man now.
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah. Because then you could just,
Yeah.
once it ends, the thing could just restart back up and pop out somewhere else.
Yeah, and also too, you have to make it to where I think that when they die, they go straight to a shrine.
Yeah,
And the
okay.
reason why is because if they die right outside, then they're still all going to be flagged up, and they're just going to have they're going to have another brawl right outside the thing, and that's not the whole point of it. The whole point of it is to move locations when it's done.
Oh, true. I see what you're saying. I agree. Yep, I see what you're saying. So if they ended and the shrine was nearby, the guys that won would then end up fighting the people that came off the shrine. Is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm saying like if they were to have a camp right there,
Oh, okay. Understood.
right by that island, it wouldn't be able to work that way. Once you
Understood.
die, you literally get. Well, no, you can't do that because then if you die and you're on the winning team, you don't want to be completely away from what's happening.
True. I'm thinking maybe it becomes like a standby phase where you could see, maybe you could see the view of one of your teammates as they're running around. I don't know if New World has that capability, because that's something I want to talk about with wars later on at some point, where I think there should be an option where you should be able to follow a teammate. If you're down and dead, you should be able to follow a teammate's view around as they're doing stuff. Yeah, spectate.
You totally spectate.
Yeah.
Instead of going back into the open world, you go into the open world when it's over with.
Yeah, correct. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, maybe you can exit out and peace out at some point after you die, but I think the option to spectate would be really fun, especially for teams that actually care about winning.
I honestly think the spectate thing would be the way to go, because you don't want anybody having to just wait in the wings of seeing of trying to get to the next spot and starting it.
True. Very true. Yep.
I mean, the whole point of this is to get people to come, other factions, so you can fight.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that there's ways that where you can implement things that can't be abused.
Definitely. I agree with that. Now, since we're open world now, we were talking about fort caps. I mean, fort cap right now is kind of crappy. I mean, it's like you said, it's 15 minutes and you get, 1,000 PvP XP? You're getting a third of the amount of PvP XP you could get from doing arenas. Like, let's be honest, you could do 3 arenas in 15 minutes, no problem.
Yeah, fort capping is I think one of the biggest waste of times.
And I know they're doing a rework. We know they're doing a rework. Like, they didn't say what they're doing with they're calling it hotspots. I'll put that in quotes because they call it hotspots, but it sounds like it's just an influence push type thing again, which sounds boring as hell. And I guarantee it's going to be linked to influence again.
Yeah, they were saying there's going to be other ways to push influence, and I think that's what you're talking about, those hotspots. But I still think that it's not gonna. Doesn't seem like it's gonna be PvP related. Seems like it's gonna be another objective, like
a quest, basically. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it doesn't seem. And the thing is what me and you want to get across is that there has to be open world incentives. There has to be a reason to open world. You can't just do missions and hope that you find some PvP. This guaranteed open world is out there because OPRs are getting repetitive. I get the whole cross-world thing was to get into a match quicker and play with other people, and it's fine and all. But it just feels like it's like you're playing domination on Call of Duty all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no other gameplay. There's no other mode. And if we have a game like this, why not take full advantage of the open world aspect of it and give people a reason to do open world just as much as OPR?
The thing I love about the idea of like the rotating PvP hotspot in open world is the fact that like I've had fights before, no joke, where I've gone into a building, 2 people chasing me, and you know how lucrative it is to jump through a fucking window and people can't get out a window. I've had a situation where I ran up to the top story of the building, jumped out the window, one guy made it out, the other guy got stuck, couldn't get out, so it became a 1v1. I killed the guy, and then the second fight was a 1v1 again. It was like that kind of situation happening in open world is just so much more fun than anything you'll ever see in OPR.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Open world can be the greatest thing of this game if they let it. But so far in the last 3 years since this game has been out, it hasn't been what its potential to be. You know, and we aren't warloggers. We've done wars, we play wars, we've pushed influence, we've done all this stuff. And we're the everyday average player that sees the need for this, you know? That sees that we don't want to play against warloggers and wars and have a territory for 5 minutes and it's being taken away from us because we're not in the clique of being in a great war, even though we know we can wipe them without their 50 man.
Yeah, very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
It's funny because at least in wars, even in wars, you're actually getting rewards for doing wars. You're getting PvP XP, you're getting a box at the end of it, you're getting, everything you would get out of an OPR, you're getting out of a war as well.
Exactly.
Rewards in general for open world PvP are they're just, when you're getting 500 gear score drops, it's like, it's kind of like a kick at the crotch. Like, let's be honest, like you're getting almost nothing. You're getting all those bags that drop. I'd rather have, out of 3 hours of a world PvP that we do, I'd rather have 1 bag drop that has something worthwhile on it versus let's say we get like 20 to 30 bags in a night, maybe 40 bags in a night.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bonkers.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's not even gear score to be upgradable. It's 500 gear score, you know? You shouldn't be able to kill somebody and get a bag with gear that is unusable.
Yep. You can't even sell it. That's the issue. You can't even sell it.
No, can't even sell it, can't even wear it. You know, it's not for the 625 gear score player. And you're putting all this work in and having fun killing, but the rewards, they're lacking, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. There's just so much potential that it's not. I honestly, the player base would come back.
Yeah, I agree
if
with that.
There'd be so much player base if open world was better of an incentive than actually having to do wars, then open world would rule it.
Yeah, you'd see a resurgence for sure.
Oh yeah, it would kick OPR in the gut, and 3v3s are, they are what they are, but open world should be the reason this game continues to thrive.
And I mean, you've seen it before where like we'll be out with our company, your company, other even green and yellow companies, and they're getting kills, and the companies themselves are out there putting in the work, putting in the time. You see the names on leaderboards. Like it's fun to see your names and the numbers go up. That's always a good time. Like, I mean, another feature we were talking before is like open world PvP, like a company like kill leaderboard, like showing how well each company is versus a solo player. And I mean, we don't need to talk about whether people are killing alts or any of that crap. I'm just talking about your company as a whole. Like, if they're doing well in open world PvP, you should be able to show it off. It shouldn't just be the main guy getting, all the glory when the company itself is truly excelling at killing in open world PvP. It'd be such a nice quality of life. Not quality, I mean quality of life. Just a nice little like
little bragging right.
Yeah, a little bragging right. Just show something in the like a leaderboard. I mean, we already have leaderboards going on anyway. I mean, and it's all solo based. Is there any company based leaderboard thing besides for wars?
No, there's not. And that's just faction. You know, for the wars.
Yeah, it's not even. There's nothing like that shows off like open world thugs, Herogasm. Nothing. You can't.
But then again, you would have to. The thing is, too, is you'd have to make it known, or in order for you to be able to be in the leaderboards, I think that you would have to have at least like a 50-man, 50+
roster
company. You know, because people are making companies left and right and ditching them and all that stuff. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like, yeah, you're right, because somebody could make a solo company and still be at the top of that leaderboard if they're putting enough time in. I see what you're saying. I mean, what you would end up doing is if let's say the minimum is 25 people, and then the company kill leaderboard is you just take everyone's kills, add them up, and the sum of those kills is where you're at on the leaderboard for the company kill leaderboard.
Yeah. Essentially, that's what you would. I would think that would be that makes more sense.
Yeah, because I mean, the more people you have, the more kills you have. Essentially, you know, at least you're supposed to.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
A 5-man company coming in, rolling in with 500 PvP kills each.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be some
But
next.
No, I think that would be an incentive, especially to it being, you know, a really cool skin. You know, if you maintain it for the whole season, or if you get number one for the season, you have an incentive of getting a cool skin or a furniture piece, or you know, there's plenty of things that you can do to have the incentive to want to push that.
Agreed.
You know? But yeah, I just think there's so many missed opportunities in open world, and it's kind of sad. But you know, when you're talking to someone like me and you that are playing every day and waiting for that, the reason why we're waiting is because there's the lack of it. You know, we've already talked about this before, is if all it takes is an incentive. You know, why do people play OPR?
For the box.
For the box.
Every time. That's it.
So it doesn't need to be, it's not hard to beat OPR with the incentive for open world. To be honest with you, this is an MMO.
You know what they could really do?
The incentive should be better.
You know what they could do? Take the banner fragments you get off people. Every 15 of those, you could trade them in for a box, something like that. Like even that would be a better option than what we currently have. Yeah, the shards.
The same thing. It's just a PvP base, you know. Oh, and we were talking the other day about the, you know, the timer per kill.
Oh yeah, sorry. The PvP XP is like or salt over a time based, being accumulative over time.
Yes.
So I 100% think that should be implemented as soon as possible. Because like we said before, like we've had fights with the same companies for hours on end. We've done 2 hours straight fighting green and over forts, and it's a good time. But we're never capping the fort. They're never capping the fort. We're just killing each other, and it's a blast. But over those 2 hours, how much PvP XP have we gained? How much salt have we gained? Maybe, if you're lucky, maybe 5,000 of both over 2 hours. That is nothing.
No,
nothing.
Because you kill one guy, he comes back, and you're getting nothing from from the same kill.
Exactly. I mean, if you made it time based, you could do, like we were saying before, every the first 5 minutes you get 500 XP. The next 5 minutes you get 1,000. The next 5 minutes you get 1,000. Or, you know, obviously you would have to make it reasonable. You can't, you know, just blow it out of the water and give you 5,000 XP every 5 minutes. But if they had it based similarly to OPR and Arena for the time invested, is what I would say. For what is it? Oh, what's an average OPR? Like 15, 20 minutes, roughly?
Yeah, it depends on
if they get stopped or not.
Yeah, that's a whole different argument there.
Yeah, so let's say the average OPR is 20 minutes, and they're gaining 2,500 PvP XP. I think if you made that in open world, make it 25 minutes, you get 2,500 PvP XP every 20 minutes. That is a nice substantial increase compared to what we're getting now, in my opinion.
Yes, and just to be clear, it's not time based on it. There's a time base, so you can kill a guy however times. But once that 5 minutes hits, then you will get something.
Yeah, you're still getting that 500 PvP XP
Yeah,
no matter what.
he can die however many times he wants. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah.
100% with that.
It goes back to the whole not the timer thing.
Yeah,
You know
see,
what I mean?
you wouldn't want to base it on the character / person themselves. I think it should just be purely a global timer, and then because even if you're not even if you're flagged and you're running around, you're trying to do PvP, you shouldn't be decentivized to be flagged and get nothing. I think you should still get something, even if it's, like I said, the 500 PvP XP every 5 minutes or whatever it is. You should still be getting something, even though you're not actively fighting. You're taking the chance, let's put that in quotes because there's really no chance, like you're not getting hurt in any way, for flagging. So you're flagging up, you're doing your chest runs, you're doing your gathering, you're doing all that jazz. You should be getting something for flagging up, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, maybe it's one of those deals. It's like when you're flagged up and you're pushing influence or you're doing whatever and flagged up, within 30 minutes of being flagged, you're getting some sort of XP because you're taking that risk of being out into open world flagged up.
So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you guys appreciated the amount of time we put into this. We like discussing this kind of stuff because we truly love open world PvP and we want to see it excel. And, we're more than welcome to any suggestions, comments you guys have in the comments. I will say, though, if you come in hot with some crazy comments, be prepared for some jokey jokes to come back at you. I appreciate you all. Peace out.